Have you ever wondered what it would be like to imbibe lots of drugs and wander around a discolored wasteland for hours?
I mean, that sounds like a Jerry Garcia concert or maybe Burning Man.
Jerry Garcia?
Yeah, you know, the Grateful Dead?
I don't really understand what this game's about, I'm not gonna lie. It is apparently a VR game, although I saw no mention of that on their Steam page, but maybe it was just the Windows 10 Creators Update screwing up my Steam VR?
The Creators Update is the one thing that I have decided I'm going to put off as long as possible. Hey guys, this is Moriarty.
And I'm CryptoSpook. I'd like to say that this game looks great, but it seems that there was a slight hiccup every time I jumped.
Every single time you jumped.
Pretty much every single time I jumped. It seemed to be something to do with the textures of the ground, like they would move forward at some points, and it just looked completely awkward.
So you don't know what the game's about, and you're not sure that it looked great. Well, tell me something, man.
Well, it's a narrative-driven game, and there is very little narrative.
When you say narrative-driven with no narrative, do you mean walking simulator?
It's a walking simulator.
Now, I'm okay with walking simulators in a lot of cases. I mean, some of them are really, really good. It is arguable that Event Zero is a walking simulator that you occasionally type into, or Firewatch, which is pretty neat. There are definitely a lot of cool walking simulators out there.
Well, I mean, I never have actually really played a walking simulator before. I got DICE a copy of Firewatch, and it looked kind of interesting, but I just found myself mostly bored.
I think they're definitely the type of thing that you are either into or you're not into. There's a market for it, I think, in VR games, because the experiences so far are typically you're going to be in your area and things happen around you, which isn't really all that much fun. It's interesting to watch, but it's definitely not that immersive. It's more like watching a movie, and it can be a very cool movie, and some of the best things I've ever seen in VR have essentially been movies that I'm sitting there watching, but they're not that immersive. They're just kind of interesting. So having the walking simulator, you're definitely taking that movie in VR thing and making it a little bit more immersive.
I will say that the visuals of the game are stunning. However, they give you basically no idea what you're supposed to be doing. I mean, like I said, I think you're just supposed to drop a couple tabs of acid here and just play the game, because there's no clear directions. There doesn't seem to be a good or a bad. The only way to die is by falling a really, 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 really long way to your death, which I only managed to do once.
So it's hard to die.
Yeah, I just had no idea what was going on.
Well, okay, so from what I gather, the entire idea of this game is to be surreal. There's no violence, it's an exploration game, and I'm okay with that. Those kind of games aren't bad. I'm really alright with somebody building a very cool story and a cool world and really letting me go out there and explore it. And I'm surprised that you're saying that you didn't enjoy it, considering that one of your favorite games of all time is Myst, which is the ultimate surreal, non-violent, first-person exploration adventure game.
Yeah, but I mean, at least that had puzzles. I don't even think there's any puzzles in here. Like, you touch stuff and something happens, it makes a noise or something like that. Maybe there's a puzzle in the game eventually, but I did not see any in about the 45 minutes I put into the game.
I can't help but immediately think of The Witness. Now, The Witness is not a game that I would ever recommend somebody play, simply because I think that it is way too full of itself. I think that it takes itself way too seriously. There's actually a really good video about The Witness by Joseph Anderson. I will put that in the description because he is my personal favorite YouTuber. I think that that really explains why I wouldn't play a game like that. This reminds me very much of that already, in that I am guaranteeing you there are a lot of puzzles here that you're just kind of not getting yet, and the journey for this game seems to be figuring out what those puzzles are, unraveling the secrets of the game itself. That's not necessarily a bad thing, and I'm sure that's something that a lot of people will enjoy, especially in VR, where you can really get in there and try everything out. Now, I gotta admit, I'm a little concerned that this was sent to us, and I swore to you that the reason that I contacted these developers was that this was a VR game. And it's concerning to me that it's no longer being shown to me as a VR game. So I don't know if that's changed or if I was just wrong all along.
I mean, it's definitely a good question either way. there didn't seem to be any settings inside the game either so that I could adjust the graphical quality or anything, so I guess they just automatically decided I had a really good PC and used the best possible graphic settings, or maybe there's only one graphical preset, who knows?
Aha! I have found it. We are planning to enable the VR support of Essence with the release of the third act. So, we won't be getting this game in VR for a while.
Okay, so this is just the first act.
There are 3 acts to this game. You buy it once, you get all 3 acts as they come out. It is episodic. But if you're buying it for VR, you're not going to get that VR until the entire game is out. So they're going to be putting out the story game. They're going to be building it out for the 2D players. And then, after that's out, they'll be retrofitting the entire game into VR. You can certainly get ready for it, but until it's VR, it's not VR. And I think that a puzzle game like this, especially with its very much the witnessy kind of feel, if it's going to be VR, it really needs to be that right away. Otherwise, it's not, I don't know, doing it for you. You know what I mean? Do I make sense to you?
I know exactly what you mean. This game feels, it just reeks of VR to me. Just looking at it, everything I saw and felt inside this game, I was like, this was designed to be in VR, but unfortunately it's not. And I feel like I would have been so much more immersed and awestruck by the beauty that I saw in this game. And it really is quite beautiful.
I can't help but be reminded of the first time that you and I played Serious Sam, the first encounter in VR, and this is a game that I'd played years and years and years ago, and I never really thought much of it graphically. I thought it was just an okay-looking game. I mean, at the time, it was just an okay game. But when you got into VR and you could get up close to walls and you could see the detail and things like that, it changed Serious Sam for me. Serious Sam was a game that I never really enjoyed all that much because there was no tactics. It was just about running and gunning. But in VR, it's a beautiful experience. I'm feeling like that's what this is going to be when it comes out. But for now, it's not a VR game, and you're really missing a lot of it when you don't have that extra field of view, when you can't look up naturally, when you can't find that your gaze is being drawn to something in the distance. When you don't get that, it loses a lot of it. It's still a pretty game. You can still enjoy the puzzles, go out there and play it, but man, what they're missing by not having that VR in it from the beginning.
I totally agree. You almost lost me there when you said, this game reminds me of Serious Sam VR. I'm like, wait, what? There's almost literally no correlation here.
But, I mean, like, you get what I mean now. It reminds me of Serious Sam VR because of that.
Yeah, you tied that together nicely. At first, I was getting ready to throw the flag.
Well, you know, I do this for a living at this point.
I guess that's a good point.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty good at it. You know, I'm pretty sure we've surpassed 200 videos now.
That's a very large amount of videos. I don't know how we had the time to do it.
And when you throw in the videos by the other collaborators on the channel, we're over 300 videos now. We're 1/10 of Total Biscuit. We're like almost up there at where Markiplier was when he got famous, and god damn it, I just don't see it coming anytime soon, and that's very depressing. Very, very depressing.
That is depressing, but you know what? You know what they say, just keep uploading.
Just keep uploading. And you know what? I'm going to keep uploading. In fact, while you're watching this video, I can guarantee you that I'm not uploading, but I will be thinking about uploading.
It's a near constant pain in my side. Yes, I agree.
So, did you at least enjoy it? And I'm not saying that you had a lot of fun, because this isn't going to be the kind of game that you go, man, that was just such a blast. But did you enjoy it enough that you went, this is interesting?
Absolutely thought it was interesting. No, I did not think it was fun. Mainly because a lot of these levels are just really, really spread out. Like, some of the experiences you get into, I'm like, man, this thing's like, hey, go about, walk a mile in this direction, touch an orb. Walk another mile in this direction, touch an orb. And I swear, if they didn't have the B-hop in this game, there would be absolutely no reason to play it, but the B-hop is pretty satisfying.
There's bee-hopping?
Oh yeah, I was bee-hopping everywhere.
I'm surprised because you don't even know how to bee-hop in CSGO. And
oh, I just kept spamming the space bar.
That's... Not quite a B-hop, but all right.
It was close enough for me.
Close enough. You know, the first game I ever did a bunny hop in was Duke Nukem 3D. I used to go to my dad's job, and he had a whole bunch of engineers, and as soon as Duke Nukem came out, nobody in the IT department did anything anymore. They were like, yeah, we'll totally fix your computer, and then they played Duke Nukem all day. I remember I would go there and play Duke Nukem against his engineers, and being, you know, a 12-year-old kid, I was a lot better than all of these 30-year-old engineers. They would get so annoyed because I would B-hop my way through the whole thing. And it was like, well, if you weren't hopping around, I'd kill you. And it's like, yeah, but I am hopping around and you're not killing me, so suck it down.
I feel like that's not what you actually meant to say there, but I can appreciate the idea.
Oh, are you kidding? Suck it down? That comes directly from John Romero himself.
Oh, well.
That is the very first taunt that was ever said in an online game.
Huh.
Suck it down.
Interesting.
That was John Romero screaming it at his buddies at id Software in the original Doom, which had online multiplayer. So, suck it down? Absolutely, that was what I was saying, because that's what you say if you're a hardcore gamer. In fact, the next time you jump into a game and you're kicking ass, you better scream at them to suck it down. So there you go, guys. That's Essence. It looks like it's going to be really interesting when it's in VR. Right now, it looks like it's something that you're kind of just going to have to enjoy having a walking simulator in 2D or not play.
Or drop some acid. I'm pretty sure that's what this is for.
Or drop some acid and go through your Grateful Dead experiences all over again. I'm excited to see it in VR. I think this is going to be an absolutely gorgeous game in VR. But as it stands now, there's not a whole lot of reason for me to play it, because I'm a VR player. And this could be a very cool VR game, but not for a while. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. Don't forget to check out the Patreon. Come visit us on Discord. You can chat with us all day long. And I tell you what, we very rarely bite. And it's definitely not every single day. Maybe every other day. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always,
we'll see you on the next one.